I'm Kamina Sue and I want to welcome you to this video where I'm going to share with you how you can do push-ups safely. You'll want to watch this video to the very end because I'm going to be sharing with you 4 key things that you need to be doing so you can do just that. If you get some value out of this video, then please subscribe to this channel because I bring out new content every week. Having said all of that, let's get on to point number 1. So the first thing you want to be doing is making sure that you have your hands the right distance apart. A lot of the time people have their hands too far apart like this. And when they are lowering themselves down to the floor, it feels like there's a lot of pressure on the inside of their shoulder and they disengage their back. So that's something you want to avoid. So don't have your hands too far apart. You also don't want to have your hands too close together unless you are deliberately targeting your triceps and you're quite experienced with push-ups. A part of this point number 1 with having the hands on the floor and making sure they're the right distance is that you want to be engaging through your fingers. Many times when, especially people who are new to pressing their hands on the floor, they have their hands like this. And you see that my fingers are touching. When you're pressing your hands on the floor, you're not going to be engaging your upper body in the correct way. In fact, it's going to feel horrible and you're probably going to hurt your wrist. So you want to make sure that you're spreading your fingers as much as possible and pressing your finger pads into the floor as much as possible. So the second thing you guys want to be thinking about when you are going to be doing push-ups safely is to make sure you've got what's called lumbar pelvic control. So what I mean by that is that many times when you see someone who's maybe new to doing push-ups, they're lowering themselves to the floor, they stick their butt out like this. And what happens is that they've disengaged their core and their lower back is going to feel horrible. So you want to make sure you're in what's called a posterior pelvic tilt, where you're pressing your pelvis forward like this, and that I'm really feeling the front of the anterior core engaging, and I'm feeling my tailbone drawing down between my thighs, and I'm also squeezing my glutes a little bit as well. So you want to be thinking about maintaining this position throughout the entire movement. You also want to be able to master that before doing any push-ups from the knees, because it's actually much more difficult to feel that when you're doing the push-ups from the knees, which is how a lot of people regress push-ups. So I don't recommend doing that. I actually recommend that you do another variation instead, which I'll be showing you a little bit later in this video. The third thing you want to be thinking about is maintaining what's called scapular stability and control. A lot of guys who have quite strong upper body strength do this as well. They pin their shoulder blades together in order to stop their upper body from collapsing and to try to create control like that. But what happens is that that's actually going to have the opposite effect of what you want. What you want to be able to do instead is have your shoulder blades move. And by doing that, you'll maintain a lot more stability and control over your shoulder blades, which is very, very important in creating that strength and that balance in the upper body. And the fourth thing you want to be mindful of here in doing push-ups safely is to not be in a rush to do them from the floor. Here I'm doing the upper body elevated press-up, which is the safest way to do push-ups if you are new to them. And let's go ahead and walk through those things that I just described earlier. So in terms of something where you're with the hands the distance apart. Now, I'm quite a small frame person, so a chair of this size is actually fine for me. If you are a little bit bigger, you might need to have a slightly bigger chair so your hands are a little further apart. So here I'm going to go ahead and walk myself out into a plank position. I'm going to move into that posterior pelvic tilt where I am pressing my pelvis forward like so, lifting the kneecaps up into the thighs. I'm gently squeezing my glutes. I'm going to take an inhalation with the chair away in this case. Exhaling, I'm going to aim my chest to the outside edge of the chair like this. And I'm going to do that on the exhalation. Shh. So that's what's called a negative press-up. It's a really safe way to be able to build enough strength to do the full movement. Repeat that for at least a good 3 to 5 times so you can actually really feel that lumbar pelvic control that I was talking about, and also feeling your shoulder blades moving. I'm now going to show you what it looks like doing it from a slightly lower platform. So once you've gotten your confidence doing some negative press-ups from the chair, you can also start to, and hopefully you've also started to push yourself back up from the chair as well. It's now time to lower the platform. So here I'm using an apple box, and it's exactly the same thing here, guys. You're just going to go ahead and come here, inhaling here, making sure you're maintaining the posterior pelvic position. Exhaling, shh, like so. Coming down to the knees, coming back up again, inhaling here, exhaling, shh. So once you're feeling confident, it's the same thing like if you're feeling confident on doing them from the chair, you can actually start to work what's called the concentric position, which is where you're pushing yourself back up again. And then often for a lot of people is the most challenging part to maintain those elements that I was talking to you about. The lumbar pelvic control and also the scapular stability. So you really want to change up the breathing here when you're doing that. So you're going to you want to exhale on the hardest part of the exercise. So in this case, it'll actually be pushing back up again. So you're going to take an inhalation down and then exhaling, shh, inhaling down, exhaling, shh, and so on. So that's how you would start to progress the push-up. Lower the platform, change up the breathing, breathing out as you push back up again. And finally, you want to start doing your press-ups from the floor. I think reiterating is always a good idea. That's how we learn through repetition. So you want to make sure that your hands are the right distance apart. I'm really spreading my fingers as much as possible. So this is a really good way to also learn how to press up as well as actually doing them from the floor instead of pressing down from the ground. So you're going to be here. I'm going to turn my toes under, inhaling here, exhaling, shh, inhaling down, exhaling, shh, inhaling down, exhaling, shh, inhaling down, exhaling, shh, and so forth. And also go for quality over quantity. So even if you can only do like maybe 2 or 3 really good press-ups, then just stick with those. So you want to be able to nail down the form before you add more press-ups. You can build the volume safely and you'll grow to love this exercise as much as I do. So thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel. I bring out new content every week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.